on, guys? So just got a call in for a no cooling call. I'm headed that way now. We're gonna see what's going on together. We're gonna do the whole call organically. So there's nothing staged on these type of calls. Anytime I do a no cooling call or any type of demand call, I film as I'm there, and we figure it out at the same time. All right, walking over to the outdoor unit, got the thermostat turned on. Let's see what's going on with it. As you heard, fan motor wasn't running, compressor was. So let's check it out and see if this thing will, well, we know it just kicked out on high pressure. So maybe it's just the capacitor, but we'll check it and find out. Yes, sir. Your typical cooling issue, the old swollen capacitor. So I have a feeling that's probably going to be the gist of this call. So we always want to check everything though. Whenever we see a blown capacitor or a capacitor that's went bad, we want to check all the other components to make sure that there's no damage. Sometimes if these has been really weak for a long time, it could have caused internal damage to the blower motor or the compressor. In this case, it looks like it's going to be more about the the fan motor. But with these trains, they have this this start cap over here that will keep these compressors running most of the time, even if your capacitor goes bad. So something that newer techs or even experienced techs tend to do a lot, and that's they find the first problem, that capacitor, they open the door, see it swollen, oh, capacitor, write it up and go present it to the homeowner. A really good technique to use, and it can not only make you more money or make the company more money and you be more valuable, but it also will help prevent callbacks and make sure that the customer's getting the right type of service that you're guaranteeing. So before you, once you see the capacitor's blown, go ahead and check everything else on the system and give that homeowner a good report on everything that's going on. So capacitor's blown, that's one thing, and then we'll go checking everything else. So we'll go ahead and we'll check the contactor ohms and make sure it's not pitted or burnt on the contacts. We'll also check the start cap over here and make sure it's reading where it should. I already can tell you the coil is fairly dirty. That alone can cause these capacitors to blow. And if you see in there, it's pretty stopped up. So we'll recommend cleaning that coil as well. So let's get both of these two parts checked, and then we'll go from there. All right, so right now we're going to clean the coil and replace this capacitor. So this is one of the it's a 40 and 7.5 for the fan. So that's not a typical capacitor we keep on our trucks. We're going to have to make one out of the two singles. So I'll show you how I usually do this in the trains, because it's very limited in the room for two different capacitors. So sometimes it can be a little tricky, but I'll show you how I normally do it. So we'll do that first, get all that done, and then we'll clean this coil and get it up and running and check the amps on this fan motor. So with these trains, you don't have much space before where the doors gotta close. And when you have these larger capacitors, since I'm having to make two of them, you really don't have the room to go back in the same places for a new strap, because that's going to set your capacitor like right here, which ain't gonna work. So for this side of my strap, I'll we'll take that off, screw off the contactor and set this in there and then screw it back, and that'll give you just enough room to fasten on this side and keep it away from the door. So I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. All right, so you got to be really careful where your low voltage is. You don't want to blow the fuse or have it setting up against that to where it could cause you shorts. But you can see I have it attached back behind where the contactor is attached, and that gives you just enough to be able to shut that door. All right, now we'll get our 7.5 and I'm going to put it over here. There's already a couple holes that I usually will put the strap. So we'll put our 7.5 here, and then we'll make our wires to connect. All right, so there's the 7.5, the little goofy round one. I hate those. Anyways, I don't like the big bulky ones either, but I'm not the one that's in charge of doing that, ordering those. So anyways, so we got that one. I trimmed the edge of that strap just to make sure that door is going to slide on good. Now we'll put our wires where they need to be, and then we'll make our jumper wire to go from the common side of this capacitor to go over to this one. Okay, so we got the jumper wire put in. That's going to the connecting the commons together. So this is the fan common that would be on your dual capacitor. It doesn't really matter if you put this one in with these or have them separated like this is, because it's really all connecting to the same. So that really don't matter. But what does is the other wire. So this is what would normally be going to just your fan plug on the dual capacitor, and then over here is your Herms, and your common is going just straight to the top of the contactor. So that's how it should look. And we'll get this kicked on and check the amp draw on that fan just to make sure that we're not going to need to replace it. Before you kick it on and you're ready to test everything, you want to see what your motor amps is rated for. And you can check if you have a nameplate on the side of your motor. You'll find it there. With trains, it usually has it on the nameplate. So right there, outdoor motor, 1 amp is what it's rated for. So it shouldn't be pulling no more than an amp during normal running. So if you're not on a train or American Standard, sometimes they don't have it on the nameplate, and you can find it on the side of the motors. And this one is right above the RPM. It's not going to focus, but just take my word for it. It's right there. All right, so let's kick this thing on. We'll get our meter on it and then get it going. All right, here we go. So our motor's rated for 1 amp, and that's 0.91. So to tell you a little bit about the motors, unlike a compressor, when it shows 1 amp, whatever it shows on the motors is what it's rated for. It should be that amperage. It's bad if the compressor amps are too low, or lower than 1, or higher. Either way, it can make that motor overheat. So when you get an amp rating on a motor, it should be that rating. Unlike a compressor, it can run well below the RLA for the whole day or however long, that's not a big deal. But with a motor, it should be running that amp or a couple points to either good or bad. But when they're running too low or too high, it's gonna mean it's gonna get a little too hot. Okay, so I wasn't able to get the rest of the repairs on video, but we went ahead and replaced the capacitor. That I'm cleaning the coil, and that's all we ended up doing. So I checked the charge looked good, everything else was working fine. I did let him know about the motor, but everything was working good when I left. I hope this was helpful to someone, and if you're new, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you at the next video. Peace.